Why is this failure here? My mother's voice slices through the opulent ballroom like a blade. Sharp, deliberate, designed to wound. The murmurs falter. Champagne glasses still in midair. Eyes turn, following the weight of her disgust. Across the room, my younger sister, Sophia, crosses her arms, her lips curling into a smirk. "You're not on the guest list," she announces, her voice loud enough to let the whispers begin. And my father? Gregory Carter doesn't flinch, doesn't acknowledge. Me doesn't even look in my direction. He simply sips his drink, posture rigid, pretending I don't exist. I expected nothing less. I take a slow step forward, my heels clicking against the marble floor. The sound echoes. A countdown. A declaration. A warning. The Grand Bellevue Hotel, this temple of wealth and excess, was built for people like them. Not for the abandoned. Not for the erased. But tonight, I don't just exist. I own this moment. A ripple of unease spreads through the crowd. I can feel it in the way the guests shift, their champagne flutes tilting, their curiosity sharpening. They recognize the tension before they recognize me. Then, I see it. The first real crack in their perfect facade. Not from my mother, not from Sophia, but from Ryan Sterling, Sophia's fiancé. His smirk vanishes in an instant. His entire body goes rigid. His fingers twitch. His throat bobs in a thick swallow. And suddenly, he looks like he's seen a ghost. Interesting. I tilt my head. Let the silence stretch. Let them feel it. The weight of what's coming. And then, with quiet control, I say the words that send a ripple of dread through the room. "Do you really not know who I am?" The shift is immediate. The whispers rise, silk rustles against polished floors. Conversations fracture. I watch my mother's grip on her champagne glass tighten. I watch Sophia's confidence flicker for just a fraction of a second. They expect me to cower, to shrink, to be the same helpless girl they threw away. I smile, slow, deliberate, a blade sliding free of its sheath. My name is Isabelle Carter. And just like that, their perfect world begins to crumble. I still remember the cold, the way it crept into my bones, numbing my fingers, biting at my skin. It wasn't just the wind that night. It was the weight of rejection, the crushing realization that I was truly alone. Gregory Carter, my father, stood in the doorway of our grand estate, his arms crossed, face unreadable. Behind him, my mother, Margaret, didn't even glance in my direction. She sipped her wine, staring past me like I was already gone. And then there was Sophia, my younger sister, the golden child, standing just behind them, wrapped in warmth, smirking like this was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. "You're a burden," my mother had said, her voice cool, detached. "A waste of time. A waste of money." I wanted to scream, to fight, to plead, but I already knew how this would end. "No buts, Isabelle," my father cut in, his voice as cold as the night air. "You're adult. Figure it out." And then the door shut. Just like that, I was erased. I remember staring at that door, waiting for it to open, for someone, anyone, to come after me. No one did. The wind howled through the empty streets as I clutched my coat tighter around me, my entire world reduced to the $17.28 in my pocket and the clothes on my back. For 3 nights, I slept behind Rosie's diner, curled up near the dumpsters where the heat from the kitchen vents barely kept me from freezing. Hunger gnawed at me. Exhaustion dragged my limbs down like lead, but I refused to break. Then, on the 4th morning, I was caught. Rita Dawson, the owner of the diner, stood over me, arms folded, her sharp eyes assessing me. "If you're gonna loiter, You might as well make yourself useful, she said, tossing a broom at my feet. That was my first break. I scrubbed floors, washed dishes, worked double shifts without complaint. By the end of the month, Rita let me sleep on an old cot in the back storage room. By the end of the year, I had scraped together enough to enroll in community college. I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. At 20, I earned a full scholarship to a prestigious business program. At 23, I was interning at a fast-growing medical startup. At 27, I launched my own medical nutrition brand, a company that would disrupt the industry and make me millions. And the Carters? They never knew. Because they didn't deserve to. Sophia recovers first, of course. She tilts her chin up, that ever-present smirk twisting her lips. The golden child. So sure of her place in the world, so certain of her untouchability. She lets out a short, mocking laugh, loud enough for the nearby guests to hear. God, Isabelle, you just had to show up and embarrass yourself, didn't you? She sneers, her voice dripping with condescension. Still desperate for attention, I see. You couldn't even make it through college and now, you're trying to what? Crash my wedding and make a scene? I smile, slow and deliberate. Oh? I muse, tilting my head. Is that what they told you? For the first time, I see the faintest flicker of uncertainty in her gaze. I reach into my clutch and pull out a neatly folded sheet of paper. I take my time unfolding it, letting the tension coil tight, letting the weight of the moment settle over her. Then, I hold it up just enough for Ryan, standing stiffly beside her, to see. His eyes move across the page, and his face drains of color. What is this? His voice is quiet, but there's something dangerous underneath. Sophia shifts beside him, her fingers clenching. Oh, please. She's making things up. It's your academic record, I say smoothly. The one that proves you never finished medical school. A murmur ripples through the nearby guests. Ryan doesn't move. He just keeps staring at the document, as if he can't quite believe what he's reading. His jaw tightens, his fingers flexing at his sides. He knows it's real. Sophia's eyes dart between us, panic creeping into her expression. Then she laughs. Not a nervous laugh. No, a loud, performative one. She throws her head back, as if this is the funniest thing she's ever heard. This is pathetic, she scoffs, shaking her head. You show up here with some fake paper and think you can ruin my wedding? Honestly, Isabelle, I should be flattered. I mean, it's obvious you're just jealous. Look at me. Look at my life. I have everything you don't. A successful fiancé, a loving family, a future you could only dream of. I don't react. Instead, I step closer, my voice calm, measured. If I'm so irrelevant, I murmur, why do you look so nervous? Her smirk flickers, just for a fraction of a second. But I see it. Ryan sees it too. His grip tightens around the document. Sophia, he says slowly, his voice cold. Tell me this. Isn't true. She scoffs again, but there's an edge to it now, a brittle quality that wasn't there before. Oh my God, Ryan. You're actually believing her? You know how she is. She twists things. She lies just to make herself feel important. Lies? I cut in smoothly. Interesting. Because I have more. The tension in the room shifts, sharp and electric. Margaret steps forward now, ever the strategist, ever the cold, calculating matriarch. Enough of this nonsense, she says, voice clipped. I won't let you ruin your sister's wedding with these absurd accusations. I turn to her, meeting her gaze head on. Oh, Margaret, I say, smiling just slightly. You should know better than anyone that I don't make accusations. I present facts, and then I drop the next bombshell. Why don't we talk about the financial fraud case against the Carter family clinic? Dead silence. Gregory Carter, my father, the man who stood in that doorway all those years ago and threw me into the cold, stiffens. His jaw twitches. I reach into my clutch again, this time pulling out a sleek black USB drive. I toy with it, between my fingers, watching as realization dawns in his eyes. I have bank statements, I continue, voice light, casual. Emails, legal documents, proof that your little family-run clinic has been committing insurance fraud for years. Sophia inhales sharply. Margaret's fingers tighten around the stem of her champagne flute. Gregory? He pales. The murmur among the guests grows louder now, whispers turning into quiet gasps. That's ridiculous, Gregory says finally, his voice low, controlled. You have no idea what you're talking about. I take a slow step closer, lowering my voice just enough for only him to hear. You didn't think anyone would find out, did you? He flinches. For the first time in my life, Gregory Carter looks afraid. Dr. Manning steps forward, his face red with fury, his fingers clenched into fists at his sides. The once composed and distinguished hospital director now looks like a man who just realized he's been made a fool of. His voice cuts through the stunned silence like a blade. You told me she had her degree, he says, his sharp gaze locked on Gregory. You vouched for her. You guaranteed her credentials were legitimate. Margaret, ever the master of deception, straightens her shoulders, forcing a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Dr. Manning, this is a misunderstanding. Whatever my daughter did or didn't do. She never graduated, I say, voice cool, steady. She never even came close. Ryan hasn't moved. He's still staring at the document in his hands, his knuckles white, his breathing uneven. Finally, he exhales, slow and measured, and turns to Sophia. His voice is eerily calm. Tell me this isn't true. Sophia doesn't answer. Ryan's face hardens. His fingers curl around the engagement ring on his hand. I defended you, he mutters, his voice barely above a whisper. I trusted you. And the whole time you were just... He cuts himself off with a sharp, humorless laugh. Then, without another word, he yanks the ring off his finger and hurls it at her feet. The metallic clink against the marble floor is deafening. Sophia makes a desperate sound, reaching for his arm, but Ryan steps back, disgust twisting his features. Don't! He snaps, his voice filled with raw betrayal. Margaret's eyes widen, and she lunges forward, her voice dropping into a pleading tone, one laced with the kind of manipulation she's perfected over the years. Ryan, sweetheart, let's be reasonable. You and Sophia are meant to be together. A few mistakes don't change that. Ryan shakes his head, his expression filled with something dangerously close to regret. You don't get it, do you? It's not just one mistake. It's everything. Every word, every lie, every fraud. He turns to look at me then, his gaze filled with something unreadable. She was right. Margaret blinks, momentarily speechless. And for the first time, true desperation flickers in her eyes. But I'm not done yet. I exhale, slow and deliberate, letting the weight of the moment settle before I drop the final bombshell. You've been using my identity for tax fraud for the past decade. The room erupts. Margaret gasps. Gregory's face goes white. The whispers around the ballroom turn into full-blown murmurs of shock. That's a lie. Gregory snarls, his voice shaking. I smile. Is it? I pull a second USB drive from my clutch, holding it between two fingers. Because I had my identity checked recently. Imagine my surprise when I found out that someone had been filing fraudulent tax returns under my name. Someone who just so happens to own a certain family-run clinic. Dr. Manning turns sharply to his assistant. Call the legal department now. Gregory lunges forward, but security is already stepping in, the weight of my words crashing over him like a tidal wave. His composure shatters. "You think you're better than us?" he roars, his voice desperate, unhinged. I meet his eyes, tilting, my head slightly. "I don't have to think it," I say, my voice smooth, unshaken. "I know it." Security grips his arms just as Margaret stumbles back, her perfectly polished facade cracking, panic finally setting in. The guests step away now, their gazes filled with nothing but judgment and scandal, the once revered Carters nothing more than cautionary tales. And Sophia? She's on her knees, sobbing, her perfect wedding dress pooling around her in ruins. Take one last look at the wreckage I've left behind, then I turn my back on them. The ballroom is chaos. Security moves swiftly, their voices low but firm as they escort Gregory and Margaret Carter out, their protests drowned by the murmurs and stares of the onlookers. The mighty, once untouchable Carters, reduced to nothing. Dr. Manning is already making calls, ensuring Gregory's medical license is revoked. The IRS won't be far behind. Their empire is crumbling, their wealth, their influence, gone. And Sophia? She's still on her knees, her sobs muffled against the pristine marble floor. The engagement ring Ryan threw at her feet glints under the chandelier light. Untouched, abandoned, just like she left me all those years ago. I take one last look. Not out of nostalgia, not out of regret, but because I want to remember this moment. The moment the people who discarded me finally faced the weight of what they had done. Sophia's tear-streaked face lifts to meet mine, desperation clear in her trembling voice. "Isabelle, please." The plea I once might have yearned to hear. The one I once would have clung to. But that girl, the one who wanted their approval, their love, died in the cold the night they shut that door. I tilt my head, considering, then smile faintly. "You never cared about me," I murmur, voice soft, final. "And now, I don't care about you." Her lips tremble, a fresh sob threatening to break free. But I don't wait to hear it. I turn, stepping over the shattered remains of their perfect little world, and walk away. Outside, the air is crisp, fresh, like the first breath after escaping a burning building. The city hums in the distance, unaware of the destruction I've just left behind, and Nathan is waiting. He doesn't speak at first, just watches me, his dark eyes assessing. He doesn't ask if I'm okay. He already knows. Instead, he raises a brow, his lips twitching slightly. "So, cake?" I blink, startled, then laughter spills out of me. A real, unrestrained laugh, the kind I haven't felt in years. "Yes," I say, still grinning. "Let's get cake." Because revenge wasn't the point. Freedom was. And now I am finally completely free.